Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Reflection and Projection for Sports podcast with Simon Burtz. We thank you all for taking an hour out of your time and tuning into the show, where today we will be reflecting on four pieces of sports news, four different sports, four of the biggest things happening in the current world of sports. So the first thing that we do, for those of you that are new, we always start with a joke. And today's joke is, I've got a great idea for an NBA-themed fast food restaurant. I'll call it Shake Shack. Shake Shack would be a great place to eat, especially if you want to get together with a diesel, even though it's very hard to do that. So the first thing I want to go into right now is, I think, the biggest, and I mean most scrutinized conversation when it comes to the NBA. Will Giannis get traded or not? And is this trade taking longer than it should? Absolutely. I absolutely think this trade is taking longer than it should. So for people who know basketball, there's a lot of drawbacks when it comes to playing with only one, just when you're relying on one player. When you're relying on one player when you're playing basketball, it doesn't always work. And what we've seen for the last few years with everyone trying to rely on Giannis, they got Dame. He tore his Achilles. It didn't work. They have Portis, but he's not enough. You need more role. You need to be more like OKC. You need more role players, because that's how you're going to win these games. So, obviously, yes, it's a team sport, and you cannot. Okay, the bottom line is, you cannot expect to win games at the standard you set if you're relying on one guy. Giannis is human. He's gonna have an off night. I don't care that he's shooting nearly 65% from the field. I don't care if he's shooting nearly 40% from three and shooting as good as Steph Curry. I don't care if he's shooting like... This is just like football, where you play for the what ifs. This relies on any sport. This is any sport you play. You play for the what ifs. If Giannis has an off night, you're going to lose every single game he has an off night, especially with the way things are going in Milwaukee. Hey, the fans are booing, but guess what? Giannis is booing them back. Giannis, just... If you gotta be tired of this by now. If you're a Bucks fan, or if you're Doc Rivers, you gotta be over this. Do we understand how many times that ESPN and all the experts have mentioned and have put Giannis trade rumors out there? Are they gonna actually make it happen this time? Giannis wants out. He's done. He's publicly stated he's ready to go somewhere else. And I have severe feelings for Giannis right now. I think he deserves better. I think Giannis deserves a championship, another championship. The situation that he is in right now it's not good. You cannot rely on one guy every night. He's putting up 28 points per game. What else can you expect this man to do? He's 31 years old. And he's legitimately doing his part. So, and just wait till it will be like Panthers fans at Carolina Panther games with trash bags on their head in 2024, 2025. I went to the Panthers-Commanders game last year. where the Commanders absolutely annihilated the Panthers. And my dad and I were surrounded by Panther fans with paper trash bags on their head. If that happens in Milwaukee right now, might I say I wouldn't be surprised. As hilarious and how comedic that sounds, from the Bucs perspective, it's not good. It's bound to happen, and I can guarantee you, with the level of passion and the level of expectations and standards that these fans and this organization has, they're not setting the standard. You gotta not be surprised when you see people with trash bags on their head, especially because they're already booing Giannis and they're booing their team. Giannis, all you can do is do your part and boo the fans back. Okay, so first of all, when it comes to this, many of these teams have to give up their whole roster just to get him. I don't know, $60 million. I don't know. Giannis he's still playing like a menace, guys. I'm telling you this right now. So, look, think about it. Let's look at who has first-round picks right now. Obviously, the Nets. They have 13 first-round picks throughout the next 7 seasons. The Nets, throughout all summer and throughout the course of the entire season, their salary cap has been really good and really high and have been able to make flexible decisions. Well, Giannis wants to win a ring. I don't think the Nets are the right place to be right now. And now the Jazz have 11. The Jazz have 11 draft picks. Well, I don't think he wants to go there. He's not going to win a ring. Houston and Memphis have 9 Memphis and Houston have 9 first-rounders. Does Giannis join Steph? Does he join KD? Hear me out. Golden State only has 5 first-rounders. If I'm looking at these guys, Giannis and Steph can do whatever they want. If Steph goes in there, picks up the phone, and calls Giannis saying, "You want to come join us?" If Giannis joins the Warriors, oh, be ready, Golden State. Be ready to give up your whole roster. I personally don't like seeing Draymond on the Bucks. But guess what? I can't say he's not going to go to the Bucks, because not only do I not know that, but second of all, I can't speak for Draymond. Like I always say, I don't know what's going to happen. So I can't say these things like, oh, that's definitely going to happen. Oh, that's definitely not going to happen. Because that's not how that works. And also, the Rockets could be in a quite similar situation. Does Giannis join Kevin Durant? I mean, that's a 3 and a 4 guard right there. In some circumstances, that's 2 3 guards. Some circumstances, that's 2 4 guards. You don't want Van Vliet doing all the work. So yeah, like I said, if I am in Giannis's position, I'm expecting a lot more effort from my teammates. I'm expecting a lot more from not just their game, but off the court too. I can bet you right now, many people perceive OKC as, oh, Shea was the leader. Well, yes, he was. But look at OKC since the Shea Paul George trade. Look at how OKC has drafted since that trade. They have the best role players in the league now. Jalen Williams, Lou Dort, Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein, Cason Wallace, Aaron Wiggins. These guys are fantastic role players. And like I said, you cannot expect to win games at the standard you set if you're only going to rely on Giannis. You cannot expect to win these games. And if I'm Milwaukee, I'm expecting the Bucks to have a lot of patience within their I need the Bucks to be extremely patient within their organization right now. I really do. Because OKC was patient. They took some beatings in the playoffs. Just 5 seasons ago, they were one of the worst teams in the NBA. You've got to wait patiently. Assuming if Giannis leaves, then just go ahead and have these players here and just develop them. That is Doc Rivers' job as a head coach. It just doesn't seem like he's doing enough. Look at the Bucks right now. They're losing game after game. They just lost to the Wizards. They're like 11th in the East. And what else have we seen? The last few seasons, the last 10 playoff series, they've only won 1 playoff series over their last 10 appearances in the playoffs. That's how you can tell that things are going down a deep old ditch and are just not going to come out. Giannis needs to go. I know you fans are always paying several hundred and several thousands of dollars to see Giannis. Well, I'm sorry. It's a business. Giannis has got to go. He really does. And the other thing you got to mention is not only do you give up, not only do you have to think about what you're going to give up, but knowing how self-centered athletes are, think about how much you got to pay him. You know athletes nowadays, all they want is money. So I'm just saying, ask and you shall receive. I would suggest trading Giannis right now for a couple of key role players and a couple of first rounders in the next 2-3 seasons. Let me clarify. I'm not saying trade Giannis in the next 3 seasons. I'm saying trade him now for like a first rounder in 2027, a first rounder in 2028, and a couple of role players currently in the league that could be a good match. Period. All right, y'all. Let's go on to let's go on to college basketball real quick. Let's check in on the conversation right now with the current college basketball rankings and AP poll. So right now, my biggest concern is St. Louis at 21. I know the first thing that I meant, the first thing when I go online and look at the AP poll, I see St. Louis at number 21. I'm like, really? Who have they played? Yeah, well, St. Louis, they beat VCU. But they played Stanford, but they lost. It's just Miami, Ohio deserves to be there. They're undefeated. If you're undefeated, you should deserve to be ranked. But if you're losing games like Stanford, then it's just you just that's one of those games as an A10 team where you got to just win. Okay, part of me thinks the other thing I'm going to say here is part of me thinks that Tony Skinn deserves better. Look at what Tony Skinn's done with the portal. Tony has had to deal with a new team like every single season. This is Tony's 3rd year as a head coach. If George Mason wins tomorrow, this is the 3rd year in a row where Coach Skinn leads his Patriots to 20+ wins as a head coach. They're 19-2 right now. The other half of me believes that Mason just isn't playing the level of competition that gets them in the top 25 conversation. it's a nature of how college basketball and how the business works. It's Atlantic 10. You rarely see more than 2 teams or even 3 teams that get in the NCAA tournament from the Atlantic 10. There were 3 2 years ago. There was only 1 last year. What it's got to be this year. So now there's things in the AP poll that are just completely missing. Where's Auburn? They played Arizona and Michigan. Who cares if they get blown out? That's bound to happen. Where's Auburn? They beat Arkansas and Florida. They're 5th in the SEC. Where's SMU? They beat North Carolina and Texas A&M. Hey, SMU almost beat Duke. And you give SMU 4 AP poll votes? Like, what are we doing here? Like, what is St. Louis do? I get they're 19-1, but what are we doing here? Like, St. Louis, they don't play anybody. They played VCU. I get it. VCU's played tough. They played Stanford. I get Stanford's in the ACC. They play tough competition, but that's not enough. You got to play top teams consistently. This is not how college basketball is supposed to work. As much as I love my Patriots, I just don't think it's time to be in the top 25 right now. They lost to Virginia Tech. They lost to Rhode Island. They can't be in the top 25 right now. Just no disrespect. They're a great team. Like I said, Tony Skinn is a great coach, knows what he's doing. And if you follow Mason basketball closely, you can tell that Tony wants to make this team look and feel like a Villanova-type powerhouse. But it's gonna take a little while. I've heard people around talk about, if Mason's gonna keep, if they're gonna keep winning, let this move to the Big East, move to a ACC, move to a bigger conference. No, you gotta win the conference and make the tournament. You gotta do what St. Peter's does, like these St. Peter's, these Drake Bulldogs, these High Points. You gotta do what they do. You gotta do what they do, but you gotta do it 7 years in a row before you move conferences. Look at women's lacrosse. There's a reason why UMass left our conference. There's a reason. It's because they're winning the conference just about every single year. And y'all, this is college basketball. Anything can change in a matter of days when it comes to the rankings. And anything can change with our opinions on where we think schools should be ranked. It's like, this team is ranked here now. I think next week they're going to be ranked. Go throughout the games every week as the AP poll changes. Our opinions are obviously going to change. So just the big thing when it comes to just the nature of college basketball, it's rapidly changing. There's teams playing every 2 to 3, 4 days, and it's like, some of these conversations that you have on podcasts weeks before today, now they're robust. They're not relevant, and you've got to stick with what's up to date. As hard as that is, it's one of the hardest parts about podcasting is that you've got to be able to stay up to date. You write something down and you prepare all this work. It's like, nope, there's more news. You got to throw that in the trash. But guess what? It's what I love to do. I love to podcast. I love to talk sports, and I love to keep people entertained. And also, I also want to mention VCU. I know I keep talking about the A10, but there's something that I keep telling people. They're like, oh, VCU's lost a bunch of games. VCU's gonna find a way to get in there in March somehow, like in the runnings for March Madness. VCU, they're gonna find a way to get in there somehow. Not only because they're consistent, but the committee, for some odd reason, loves VCU. So, if VCU becomes ranked here soon, I know they have quite a few losses and a loss against George Mason. I don't care what you think. If VCU by the end of February is a top 25 team or at least an AP poll team, I wouldn't be surprised, because VCU knows how to come up and step up and show themselves and show us who they are in the big moments. I also got to mention Auburn. I want to mention Auburn real quick. For Mason Nation here, who remembers who Keyshawn Hall is, he was here my freshman year, and he was probably by the way, Keyshawn Hall has one of the most motivational and inspirational stories out of his freshman year of college I have ever seen in my life. In one summer, this guy lost 65 pounds. He knew that something was up to no good. Hey, Keyshawn, if you're watching this, we miss you here, but we know that it's bound that you want to go to the league, and that I know that it's absolutely going to require you to go to bigger schools like Auburn and play and compete in the SEC. And crazy thing about Keyshawn Hall is, yeah, he definitely averaged probably 17 points a game at George Mason. Well, then he goes to the Big 12 and averages more points than he did at Mason. Whoop, then he goes to Auburn and averages even more points than he did. He averages like 17 points a game at Mason. Then he averages like 19 points a game at UCF. Then he averages like 23 points per game at Auburn, which is absolutely incredible. I want to be coached by the greatest by the best in the country, and that's Bruce Pearl. Dude, you're doing the right thing. If you're going to go to the league, it's all about the people. It's all about who you're coached by. And so I really got to give a lot of respect to him. This guy, night in and night out, he's putting up 30 points. He's putting up like 8 or 9 rebounds a game. It's incredible what this kid is doing. And like I said, we miss you here at Mason. You're a great player. You're a fantastic scorer. You're a great shooter. You're a great rebounder. But definitely the better path to the league is playing where it matters most, in a place like Auburn, where Stephen Pearl is cooking those guys up. It's just, I really think it's disappointing that Auburn's not. Auburn only has 15 AP votes. I think they have at least 40 or 50. I mean, I can understand why people think Auburn shouldn't be in the top 25. They only have 15 AP poll votes. I think that's a little crazy. I mean, yes, they had bad losses to Arizona and Michigan, but they're the best teams in the country, period. The SEC is cannibalizing. They've got tough competition, but they don't necessarily have the teams who are actually ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 all the time. Arizona is number 1. Michigan is number 3. Michigan makes March Madness here and there, but holy moly, it's crazy where Michigan has come from this year. Look at this. They're number 3 now. Hey, before we move on, before we move to break, hey guys, where did Nebraska come from? I don't know where they came from. They're number 5 in the country. They're undefeated. They had a great game against Michigan. They lost. I watched that game. That was fantastic, back and forth. They were hitting threes. They were rebounding like crazy. They were reading each other's offenses and defenses very well. They're extremely well coached teams, but I really do think if Auburn, I really think Auburn should be in the 21 to 25 range, like being number 21, 22, 23, 24, or 25. But then you have teams like St. John's who plays tough competition. They have Rick Pitino, but is there a little glaze in there? St. John's has lost 5 games this year already. But I don't condone you when you're listening to people when it comes to it's like nah man, no, it's mostly glaze, man. The committee, when the more you watch college sports, the more opinions and more just passionate you are about what the committee believes in. Look at football. Look at them putting Texas and Penn State all the way up there, and now look at them. That kind of thing. So with that being said, we are going to go to break. For those of you watching on WGMU Radio, I will be putting on music. So if you really want to listen to the music, you will have to exit off YouTube because I will be muting the YouTube due to copyright. And I will be playing something. And we're going to have just like a 5-minute break here and there. But we're going to be back for some more heat, ladies and gentlemen. YouTube folks, see you in a minute. And YouTube folks, welcome back to the second segment of the podcast. So, all right. So, I hope to not get emotional here, but first of all, okay, the next topic is it's going to relate to what I'm doing tonight. After the game in Cleveland Wednesday and LeBron James getting emotional during his tribute video, Dave McMenamin wrote in an ESPN article about what LeBron said, in which could be his last game in Cleveland in his legendary career. So as much as I've put in some prep to this, putting into words what I'm about to say is going to be not easy just because of how much of an impact that LeBron has made. So when I'm looking at a guy like LeBron James, it's not about the way I see LeBron James as an individual, it's not about the 13 all NBA first. It's not about the 4 championships and 4 finals MVPs. It's not about the 3-time All-Star MVP, the Kareem passing Kareem. It's not about those. What I love most about LeBron is what he does off the court. When you're looking at the I Promise School, when you're looking at the LeBron James Family Education, when you're looking at More Than an Athlete movement and the Spring Hill Company, he has done it all. See, these are my favorite types of players. Not just the ones that are a star, but the ones who are good people. And people like LeBron is exactly an example of who I would always look up to when it comes to leadership and just being that guy that you always want to be around. Him, Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, people who always give back to the community and know just how important it is to help people in need. And so I know I'm trying not to cry here, but I am getting a little emotional going to see him tonight at the Lakers-Wizards game. Obviously, my pops and I are going tonight. I don't know how much we paid for that, but I know we paid a lot of money. And knowing the person I am, I always, just leading up to it, I'm always freaking out about, is he going to play or not? First of all, Luka's questionable right now. I have no idea if Luka's going to play or not. I'd love to see him too. He's leading the league in points per game. But even though I'm saying that, LeBron is that much more important. All right? So just, I hope to not cry tonight, just because this could be the final time I ever see LeBron James in person. I've seen 3 Cavs games in person, but sadly, he was hurt for 2 of them. So I've only seen 1 game with LeBron James, and I vaguely remember it because it was like 10 years ago. So just the thing with, also just another thing that I want to mention is that even as a sports broadcaster, it still feels special to see him. Like, the big sports broadcasters, the Kevin Harlams, the Mike Breens, the Joe Davises, the Brian Andersons. They, all these star players, they see them all the time. Like like all these star NBA players, they're there and commentating them all the time. But then when you see players like LeBron, it's just starstruck and that much more special. Because of the impact that he's made on and off the court. And just, you also, looking back at just what he's doing, he's averaging 22 points a game and he's 41. Y'all, he's 41 years old. And he's still averaging 22 points a game, which is incredible. Nobody back in the day would have thought that would ever happen. Even if LeBron got 2004 Rookie of the Year, nobody thought he was going to turn into what he is today. And here's the thing, another important thing, just often as a sportscaster, you don't typically act the same that fans do when seeing these famous players, because you're working for them. You don't like if I'm at a Mason women's basketball game, I'm not like getting all hyped up to see the players. I'm locked in and doing my thing. It's a professional environment, or even the coach for that matter. That's not how you act when you're working in a sports environment. Even though you're playing a game, it's a business. You act professional. And so that's something that I'm definitely going to be working on throughout my life as a person. But this is one of those times where I just won't be able to help it, because it's LeBron. It's potentially the last time I see him ever. It's just every time right now a fan goes to see LeBron or anybody, they're always asking themselves, is this going to be the last time? Not only because he's going to retire soon, but look at Tom Brady. He retired and came out of retirement. So you never know. And knowing a guy like LeBron, he's going to play as long as his body lets him. I mean, that's non-negotiable. I also just want to mention how my parents went and saw The Price is Right live in 2000 and were absolutely starstruck when they saw Bob Barker. And if I feel the exact same way tonight, I wouldn't be surprised, because you're looking at the presence of greatness and LeBron and everything he's been doing as a player. And my goodness, when he retires, is this basketball community gonna miss him? And he is just a great player, knows how to play basketball at a high level at 40 plus years of age. It's just mind blowing, and it just and the bottom line is LeBron. He's still doing LeBron James things. He's still doing LeBron James things. He's making dunks. He's making crazy passes. His speed and athleticism are the things that he's doing. You don't see athleticism like that usually from a 41-year-old at all. And so I definitely am. I'm very excited to see LeBron tonight. I wonder how many minutes he's going to get. I wonder how many points he's going to put up. But might I say, will my phone be out and on recording? Because this is a treat. And I know I'm talking a lot about LeBron. I know I'm going to move on to the next topic here soon. But it really is a special and just amazing, going to be an amazing experience tonight. And any time and any times that people have gone to see LeBron, it has been an absolute just fantastic experience. So now let's go into the final topic of the podcast. So the other day, first of all, I got the saddest news. My podcast partner, Mackenzie, the other day I found out that she had to work all afternoon. She's not on with me today. You're probably wondering, where the heck is she? But she is not on with me today. The reason why I'm saying that is because I'm talking about her team going to the Super Bowl right now. And I literally I was somewhat planning to have like the last 20 minutes of this podcast just on this topic, because I know that Mackenzie is going to be rambling and rambling, just knowing the trash talker she can be sometimes, about how the Seahawks are making the Super Bowl. And with that being said, the Seahawks defeat the Rams 31-27 in a close nail-biting game, an NFC Championship to go to Super Bowl 60, flying high. This is appearance number 4 in their history. So just looking back at the overall game, it was a great game to watch. I know I watched the snowy game too, but in that Patriots-Broncos, they couldn't do anything. I mean, come on. I think that might be the most epic weather turnaround in a football during in-game that I have ever seen. The first quarter, it was fully green. By the end of the third quarter, it was total white snowflakes all over the ground. Snow games happen all the time, but the crazy change that was made throughout that game was unfreaking believable. And it's just fun to watch, even though it was hard through those conditions. But hear me out. Let's go back to this Seahawks-Rams game for a second. The first thing that sticks out to me is, can we talk about JSN? 115 yards in the first half? This guy was at Ohio State tearing it up just 3 to 4 seasons ago. And now he's the best receiver in the NFL. He had 153 yards in that game. Okay, if someone asked me, why do you think Jackson Smith-Njigba has been as successful as he is? I think it's his work ethic and leadership. I really do. I mean, they had Lockett and Metcalf last year, but they didn't have anything like this. Well, maybe they did in the sense of the Seahawks had a bunch of guys, and they were putting up similar numbers in total amongst a bunch of guys, as opposed to one guy in Jackson Smith-Njigba putting up all these numbers. So I'm really impressed to see what he's been doing there. Can we talk about that one-handed catch? Jackson Smith-Njigba, one-handed, that was just superhuman. Him pulling an OBJ like that blew my mind. I know he's been putting up crazy yards all year, but those one-handed catches that he's making, that one-handed catch, the exclamation point there, it says it all. It says exactly the type of season that JSN's been having. So now the next thing I want to talk about is Sean McVay doing Sean McVay things on fourth down. 4th and 4 from the Seattle 6-yard line. 5 minutes left in a 4-point game. Can't we just go for the field goal and make it 31-30? I mean, you got to, in these situations, you've got Cam Curl. You've got defense. The Rams have defense. They don't just have Cam Curl, but the Rams have defense. You've got to put trust in your defense in these moments. It just has to happen. Put your trust in your defense. You could have made the Seahawks go 3 and out and get them off the field and get Stafford out there in clutch moments and get down the field and give the Rams a field goal and make it 33-31. But instead, the Seahawks had a near interception and dropped it in the end zone, but it didn't matter. It was 4th down, and I'm not the person typically to be mean to people, but the 4th down call there, I really disagree with it. I really do. I really would have kicked the field goal there. So another thing that emphasized was Okay, let's talk about the Riq Woolen taunting penalty. Let's go deeper into that here. Okay, what was going on in my mind with this taunting penalty on Riq Woolen? I thought it was costing them significantly. I get it's a big play on 3rd and 12, but you cannot be skipping along the sideline, just going amongst yourself, skipping along the Rams sideline, doing what you did. I'm mentioning it again. You play for the what ifs in sports. I know people are going to say to me, but they won. But for future references, you don't know. That's my point. You just don't know. That taunting penalty, look, Seahawks, they didn't even score a single point after the taunt was called. They didn't even score a single point. They were on a roll throughout the rest of the game. If I'm the Seahawks, I would keep your cool, draw some plays, and have gone up 38-27, give yourself some breathing room. That's what I would have done if I'm being asked that question. And so the thing with that is that you just have to compose yourself. I know that Woolen's been working on that. I know he's been having frequent problems with getting agitated and just being and just having to rectify the situation. But that's in my mind. I'm just thinking that throughout most of the game, not most of the game, but throughout the course of that, mainly the main course of that third quarter, was that taunting call costing the Seahawks? There's a reason why the Rams got 27 points. They did it. Puka caught it in the end zone, and funny enough, Riq Woolen was the guy guarding him. And that's just I don't think skipping along the LA side. I just don't think that was necessary there. And I mean, when you look at the perspective of taunting, even Cam Kinchins, when he came out of nowhere and smacked Darnold to the ground, he came out of absolutely nowhere. There were just a lot of little plays in there that were just unnecessary. They were getting a little chirpy, and you knew with the way and how heated that game got, you knew the refs weren't playing around, and I don't blame the refs for not being afraid to throw flags, because in that game, when it's that crazy, it's like as a ref, you got to do something about it, and you just got to throw the flag and stop the trash talking. And then let's talk about let's go back to Sean McVay and play calling. Let's talk about the final play of the game. Let's talk about how they were on their own 30-yard line on 2nd and 10, and yes, he was downed in bounds. There's a reason why the clock didn't stop. They had no timeouts left. And so you got to go out of bounds. If you're the Seahawks, you're probably thinking, okay, no timeouts left. It could be the last play of the game. Let's just what do we know about the clock? Oh, the clock stops when it goes out of bounds. Let's cover the edges. Let's get bodies on the edges. And they did that. But the problem was, at this point in time, you gotta throw a 70-yard bomb here if you're Matt Stafford. Part of the problem could be in the previous plays. So, and you have to you really have to just put your perspective into some of these play calls and how that could have costed the game. So, and I really think, even with the light schedule that the Patriots have been having, I still think the Super Bowl is still going to be fairly competitive. But it would have been a lot more competitive if it was like No, I'm totally now. I'm bluffing and I'm thinking about Bo Nix being injured. If the Broncos were in the Super Bowl, I would have been out of my mind. Um, so now when it comes to the Patriots, part of me thinks that Drake May's unfamiliarity with this level of competition on defense this year will be put on display, and it will be the worst Super Bowl with exceptions to Super Bowl 53. And part of me thinks that New England will get lucky like they've been getting all season. And then part of me thinks if you haven't played tough competition throughout the season and you make the Super Bowl, have you really earned it? Well, that's not how it works. That's not quite how that works. If you make the Super Bowl, you make the Super Bowl, and you get to play in it and have a gracious and just grateful opportunity to play in the Super Bowl. So, and now when you're just looking at all the teams, before I sign off, just looking at all the teams that are in it right now, the Seahawks, the Patriots, the Broncos. I know I've said it in a previous podcast. Am I still 10 years old? Think about it. Is it still 2015? Like, look at who's in it. Like, did the Mahomes era ever happen? It's 2026, and we're going back to 2015. The Panthers are getting knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. The Jets are having an off year. Matt Stafford and Aaron Rodgers are having great seasons. I mean, look at this. The Patriots are back. And look at this. Legion of Boom Part 2 is being put on display. Sean Payton is back with his greatness. I know my household is tired of Sean Payton. But I'm not disrespecting him. I'm just saying that Sean Payton's great, but I mean, he's back. Sean Payton greatness. I mean, it's coming back, and he's in the runnings. I mean, it's and the Chiefs are completely out of it. But when I'm watching football and I'm watching these teams that I'm mentioning right now, the Tom Brady days in New England are coming back. The Russell Wilson and Richard Sherman days in Seattle are coming back to my head. The Peyton Manning, the Aqib Talib, all of that is coming back to me. And I kid you not, as much as we have as much as it was a crazy year in the NFL this year, I was thinking, we might have a new champion this year. Franchise-wise, do we really have a new champion? Player-wise, absolutely. But franchise-wise, absolutely not. These teams have been in the running, and were in the running in my elementary school days. But now, to cap off the podcast, we are going to get my Super Bowl prediction. Let me go through a little something here. All right. I really do think the Seattle defense is going to smother Drake May. I know that he hasn't faced crazy defenses as much this year. I wonder what Stephon Diggs is going to do in the Super Bowl. Is this his first Super Bowl appearance? Good for him. I know he's a hothead, but if you earn the Super Bowl, you've earned it. If you've earned an appearance in the Super Bowl, you've earned the appearance to the Super Bowl. And then and what else is going to happen? I think Mr. Menace in Kenneth Walker is going to do what he did in that champ. Can we talk about Kenneth Walker? Are you kidding me? This Michigan State kid is amazing. Are you kidding me? Kenneth Walker, he's going to get at least 100 rushing yards. I mean, come on. So with that all being said, I think it's going to be a defensive battle. They got Christian Gonzalez in New England. And so I do think when I say it's going to be fairly competitive, I really do think the Seahawks are going to win it. I'm going to say 27-20. to 20. I think the Patriots are going to put up a great fight, especially on offense. I think there's going to be stretches in the game where Sam Darnold, because hear me out. There's times where, especially when I was watching Sam Darnold in a Panthers uniform, when you saw the other team getting in his head, you knew it would be in his head for a while. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots have some good stretches on defense as well. And so with that being said, it's going to be 27-20 Seattle. And with that all being said, we sadly have to conclude the podcast there. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and we will see you all next time. People on YouTube, cheers.